For years, Good Morning Football was the show that you could wake up with a cup of coffee and get ready to hear all of the pop culture references that you could want from Kyle Brandt and Peter Schrager throwing them at you, and then any men of four personified with Nate Burleson breaking it down, and then Kay Adams or Jamie Erdahl to keep it all together and lead the show in an incredible direction. That was just thoroughly entertaining to be a part of. Good Morning Football was the type of show that you could wake up with and just know it was going to have that warm, fuzzy feeling that comes with like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas Day, where you're used to waking up with football and it being something that you could turn into maybe before you're about to head to school, or if you're coming off of work, something you're going to be paying attention to on your commute as you're listening to it. But with the departures of Nate Burleson to CBS Mornings and his time with CBS for the network, for them and their broadcasts being on that desk show, with Kay Adams with her work now with FanDuel, and Peter Schrager and his departure to go work with ESPN, the show has been brought down to the very talented Jamie Erdahl. She's great as a host, and Kyle Brandt, who's still with the show, but it is not what it used to be. And the reason why it was so special is because all these stars and what they are, Kay Adams now with FanDuel, a big star, and Nate Burleson is turning into one of the faces of CBS, and Peter Schrager's no doubt going to have his rise happening at ESPN, and it will continue to do so. If you remember some of the draft, every single piece, he's with the Pat McAfee show, he's on the normal broadcast, just dropping so many tidbits about each of the players, little story for all of us to just sort of devour as he's going through it. But it was ahead of its time because it was able to service you as a need, with Nate being able to break down the coverage and the intricacies of what the offense or the defense was trying to do, what they were trying to get across. And then Kyle Brandt throwing together some sort of abstract reference to a movie from the 1980s, and then Peter Schrager with the story to wrap it all together. It was this blend of personality, enthusiasm for what they were talking about, expertise they would never miss. They would never cross the line in terms of what's appropriate. It would always be seemingly to find the target perfectly. Like they would be able to find a reference that some people would be like, well, I actually understand that you're talking about that pie that your grandma made that just didn't quite come out the right way. And you're able to relate that to an expectation of what the football product on the field might be from an aging Ben Roethlisberger, potentially. So those types of references, there's just no way to be able to expect that show to produce the type of content that's able to deliver the amount of entertainment that you're used to. The way I sort of relate it to is, if you're expecting people to continue to watch Good Morning Football the way that they used to, are you going to expect people, if they came out with a Breaking Bad season 6, and this is a spoiler, so if you've watched Breaking Bad and you don't want any spoilers, pause the video or skip ahead because this is a spoiler. So Walter White, he dies in season 5 of Breaking Bad, but if they made a season 6, like, it's just going to be Jesse, like Hank's dead also. Like, what is the show necessarily going to be about? Like, you still got Jesse Pinkman, but they made like that sort of segue, that movie El Camino with Jesse. It was good and the story was fine, but Gustavo Fring is gone. The main elements of the show, the true characters that you loved or loved to hate, a part of the show, Hector Salamanca, they were just gone. They were no longer within it. And that's exactly what you sort of feel with this, when the main characters, and that's what they are characters. When they're putting on their microphones and they're stepping in front of that camera, they are characters in a show, just exactly like you might be watching with Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or The Sopranos. They are the exact same thing. Characters that almost become a piece of the folklore within your mind and what you're making them out to be. And so when they're gone and they're off the show, it's as if their character has died, because there's not really any more references. They're not consistently going to be, they're not talking about Peter. They haven't mentioned really Kay at all on the show. They haven't mentioned, they don't talk about Nate Burleson on the show. It's not like they're continuing to keep that memory alive and bring them back, or they're doing an interview cross-platform with Schrager, bringing him in from ESPN, with Burleson with CBS. They're just siloed off into what NFL Network is and their content. And so for the essence, that character that you grew to love and enjoy and rely on most of the mornings of your week for an entire year is dead. That's frankly what it is. And it's very sad that that is what has become, because it was that show every single day that you would be able to just be excited with and know that you had these group of people that were going to break down your favorite sports. And not just that, they're going to provide you with the sort of analysis that would keep things lighthearted, that would keep it positive. Not that Jamie Erdahl is not able to do a great job at that. And she is extremely talented, and the work that she provides, and you can tell that she really cares about what she is saying. Each of her ranges of what she can talk about, the sincerity, important stories like injuries or something that's been a little bit more intense to something that's a little bit on the more lighthearted side, or something that you can get a little bit jokey with. That range is difficult to do with the host, especially with your running mates and who you are doing the show with. And with the talent sort of drop off, I'll comfortably say that you're comparing, former NFL players or personalities to people that are used to doing this for a living, right? With Burleson, he was just this extraordinary guy. He's becoming like the focal point with CBS. But with Peter Schrager, there's an element of that history. He used to be a sideline guy for a long time, and his work with Fox, he would be there in Los Angeles doing those mornings, those Sunday pre-kick with Fox episodes there, where he's there with an hour. I think it was with Carissa Thompson and Colin Cowherd, and there was Michael Vick, and there was Coach Dave Wanstead breaking all of that down. So, this show is ahead of its time in so many ways. The way it was able to be entertainment, pop culture, sports, all of it mixed and matched into one, to be able to provide everything that you needed in it. For it to be officially gone after seeing the coverage of the draft and the elements of the couple of weeks leading post into the breaking of the NFL schedule, I'll confidently say that I will not really be watching much of the show. And it's like I'm open now to looking at something else to be able to come up with into, and gives me a little bit more motivation to develop something here with this channel and what Blitz with Blender is, to be able to continue to work and grow with that, continue to pour out good content. So I appreciate you so much and sharing probably some of the sentiment that I have with this. Let me know in the comments what you have thought about Good Morning Football. Give me one of the fondest memories that you might have of any of them, of any of the characters from this show, or mornings maybe you woke up and watched it after your team had a heartbreaking loss, and they're there to comfort you, or you're had an elation, your team with a big win, and they're there to break it all down on a Monday. Let me know what your favorite moments with the show have been, and sort of where you're looking towards, like what shows you're going to be looking at a little bit more so as they've been siloed off a bit more so on their own. So I appreciate you so much. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this coming at you soon, and I will see you next time with another episode.